Hi everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of The Front Row here on Economy.lk. Today we're here to talk a little bit about exports, apparel exports to be a little more precise, and we're in conversation with Vinod Hirdaramani, who is the director of Hirdaramani Group and also sits on the board of a leading private bank as well. Welcome, Vinod, on the show. Vinod, we've really seen apparel exports and exports as a whole coming towards Sri Lanka's aid in the last 12 to 18 months. But the revival, or especially in the post-pandemic period, will the revival continue, in particular in the backdrop of what is going on in the global economy, and in particular our key markets like the US and Europe, which the industry is exposed to, and what's the outlook based on it for 2023?
Well, Shiran, thanks for the question. We had a great 6 months. Performance this year will be, better than the year before and the year before that. We are going into a global recession, no doubt. Our key markets are facing turbulence in terms of higher costs and inflation. That will affect our orders. We're looking at a 20-25% reduction in orders. I don't think it's a long-term thing, Shiran. I think it's for the first 6 to 9 months. I think it's a time for us to consolidate and reflect and really look at our cost bases again. There's a possibility of a brain drain as well in our industry. People looking to leave the industry, go to other countries, go to other industries. There were also, higher costs involved, even though we've had a big devaluation in the rupee. Energy costs and transport costs have gone up commensurately. So a rocky 6 to 9 months.
Right. And in terms of expansion further, is the industry looking at expanding its footprint here? And I think what we're also seeing is a little more backward integration with the supply chain, and in particular the yarn and things like that. What factors could maybe drive some of the firms who are going out and investing to maybe think a little bit local, or is it a mix of both?
No, so I think there's been a mismatch between the fabric base and the capacity in the industry. So Erevalur and the Kurunagla zones that the BOIs are promoting, are really important. So backward integration in both fabric and yarn are really key for growing the base here. There are investors. I mean, we are all looking at the opportunity. Again, I think I mentioned it in the committee just before. I think FTAs are really key, Shiran. We really need the India FTA and the UK FTA to come into play, and that will give added incentive for people to come into the country.
Sure. And in the backdrop of we're talking about reforms, and it's become a very buzzword sometimes, maybe even overused. But practically, what would you like to see the policymakers and even the private sector doing in this reset, in particular from an export point of view?
So, the key factor, Shiran, which is a very delicate subject, is labour reforms, right? We have to be conscious of the fact that we employ over 250,000 people in the industry. But if we want to get more investment into the industry, we need to look at some of the antiquated laws that are still in existence. So I know the government and the BOI are looking at it, and we just hope that they can move that forward. Digitalization, I think, if we look at India, countries in the region, their documentation is so much further ahead than us, and that will be a really important factor. The court cases and the delays in that, again, if we could speed that up. The whole restrictions on the dollar and conversions and things like that, I think as we go into the IMF deal, if we can resolve that will really help as well. Ease of doing business overall, one-stop shop. If I want to start a factory in Jaffna, it should be a seamless operation. That really needs to happen as well. And also, we've now seen a big decrease in freight and shipping rates, and that was a huge factor in inflation. So if we can look at how we as a country can benefit from that, again, that will really help in terms of our customers placing more orders here.
Sure, and I think just picking on one point you mentioned about India, and I think we're seeing a lot of countries de-risking out of certain destinations, looking at India as an alternative, and in particular the electronics sector. I know you have some interest and exposure towards this. Is that an opportunity that we can grow something non-traditional?
I think so, definitely. As I said, we're involved in some of the supply chains in India, and we can see that there are items that we could easily manufacture in Sri Lanka. We have good logistics, and we have good manufacturing skills. I mentioned the example of remote controls. 10 million remote controls are shipped from China to India. Just imagine if Sri Lanka started making those for the likes of Samsung and Panasonic in India.
Thank you, Vinod, for highlighting that opportunity and also giving the outlook for apparel in general and some of the reforms that are required for the export growth as well, which is needed at this point. To our viewers, stay tuned for insightful episodes like this, where we feature eminent business personality, economists and others to explain better some of these key trends and challenges. Thank you.